July 3rd, 2014. These are Earth-facing SDO images. The sunspots coming around now are almost Earth-facing, especially the one that is triple configurated, and I'll show you that on the charts. Now, today has been quiet. The satellites are starting to pick up some of the activity from the past 2 days. You'll see that as we go through this. Now, that's a large sunspot that just came around the left bottom limb right there, and I'll show you the stats on this. They're calling that 2109. Now 2104 though is beta gamma delta. Notice that that's almost directly Earth facing. That's what it takes for X flares. Our chance now for M class is 50 class. X flare chance is 5%. You can see that, and most of that percentage is coming from 2104. But 2109 coming around looks like it's something that we're going to have to deal with. And the sunspot in the circle they're watching in the very top, watch this in the last few frames as it comes around. That's the one that was shooting out all those torrents of fire on the coronal mass ejections for the last 2 days. It seems to be quiet this morning. We'll watch it. Now, this is what crossed the A satellites. It's a pretty good spike there, guys. I'm not sure exactly which flare it was because they're not tracking any. I have my suspicions, and I'll show you that on SOHO. This is LASCO C2 SOHO images that are also Earth-facing. Notice the 30th and the timestamp coming into the first. We'll go through the second up until today's images. There. Again, this morning's been quiet, but it takes a couple of days for these CMEs to start approaching the Earth that are Earth-facing. Right there on the second, and right there, see that from the first to the second, that activity is starting to pick up. We're also starting to see some of the quakes increase up into the upper fives as we're starting to feel this pressure on the magnetopause. And I'll show you that before the video's over. Again, quiet day today, that could change very fast. Also on the ACE charts, if you look at the density, radial speed, and temperature, you see there was an interruption at 1400 hours. In 1500 hours, you started to see it jump. Now, this goes from yesterday at 2200 hours. That's just before midnight. That's 11 universal time. And I've got the arrow overlaid at 12. See, fairly calm, starting to pick up there. Getting a little stronger as we come into the third today. Again, the sun's quiet now. This is incoming from 2 days ago. One thing about this video, guys, is if they take down stereo A and B, or we will not have a tracker for the CMEs, you need to learn to use this one from the GOES satellites 15, 14, and 13, as well as looking at the ACE satellite charts. We won't have quite the visual, but we may still have some modeling, and again, the ACE satellite information as far as electrons and protons. As this goes through today, you'll see right here at 10:16 universal time, more pressure, then it pulls back out. Now that springing back out motion has its effect too, guys. It's like you squeezing something and then letting it go and it expands back out. That's pressure on our tectonic plates. Now we've had a 5.9 off Russia, 5.2 in the Aleutian Islands, and that was near that large quake that we had, the 7.9, a 5.6 down in Fiji. Over in Mexico, 4.3. You can see smaller quakes around, but that's where the pressure is now. We'll see is that the incoming CMEs that have crossed the ACE satellites, as they come in today, we're going to watch it. Again, there's 3.2 south of Lone Pine, California, and you got the 2.7 in Arkansas. Nothing large. Let's go and look at this hurricane. Arthur is now at 80 miles an hour. Central pressure at 983 millibars, and it's moving north-northeast at 9 miles an hour. You notice the speed is increased, and it's starting to track north-northeast. That's important. That will keep it from slamming right into the land. Cape Hatteras, though, is going to get it. It's going to come right across it. I think they're starting to ask people to evacuate that area. I'm not sure if it's mandatory yet. It really should be, because those bridges become quite dangerous. And anywhere on those beaches, even if it doesn't look that bad in your area, the rip tides are going to be very bad, because this thing, the way it's moving, it's going to pull along the beach, and what's going to happen is your tides are going to come out of the north, coming back as this thing rotates counterclockwise. You can see your hurricane warnings now. Almost the entire coast of North Carolina, moving into the bottom of Virginia. Right there. Now, also, tropical storm warnings are in the blue from central South Carolina all the way back up to Virginia. Stay out of the water. Even if it's sunny in your area, don't let your kids drown, and you don't drown. Every time this happens, we start seeing it on the news. People aren't paying attention to this. But again, this thing is very powerful. When you're dealing with 80 miles an hour sustained winds, that's pushing a lot of water. So not only are you going to have rip currents to deal with, you're going to have lowland flooding. Your tides are going to be somewhat higher. Be aware of that. And don't wait till the last minute. They're already starting to get some traffic jams coming out of the North Carolina area. So don't be caught in that. Let's take a wider look at this. You notice in the Gulf it's somewhat quiet. We got some thunderstorms that are just kind of on the tail end of this whole system that have no rotation. We do have right there coming into the Caribbean. We have something we may need to watch in the Bay of Campeche. We're just going to have to keep an eye. It depends on how it hits that cool front. Here off the Mexican coast, we're still praying for you guys to get a little of this moisture up in California. It's trying to get up into Arizona through the Baja, guys. Everybody say a prayer. California, get some rain. Lord, give them a little. They need it. I'll pull this up and I'll show you what I mean. You've got moisture that's being kind of trapped between the Gulf and the Pacific, pushing right up into the Baja area and trying its best to get into southern Arizona. California, just keep praying, guys. I'm praying with you. I know you need it. All the West Coast does. Let's go to Myrtle Beach. It's a little different from what we've seen the last 2 days. The flags are down. You're starting to get some rain in. It's completely overcast there. Now, it's not going to come right into Myrtle Beach. This is last night. As the winds were picking up, and they pulled the flags down since then. This is yesterday afternoon. Just kind of looking back on how it looked, going back to this morning. Up and down the coast, you're going all the way up into North Carolina. This is on the outer banks. Notice the sun's still out, but the waves are picking up. That's why it's going to be dangerous. A lot of people are on vacation, not really paying much attention to the news. They know that something's going on in the area. Everyone's aware of that. But the kids playing on this sunny beach have no idea what those rip currents will do. I promise you they don't, so do not turn your back on them. Again, you're starting to see some of the people come out of the water. This was this morning, but not everyone, and that's going to be the danger. It's just not worth it, guys. If you want to play on the beach, do it. Come out of it when it's in the storm, but do not get out in that water that's waist deep. It will pull you straight out. And remember the rule on that. If you were to be caught and pulled straight out, don't swim straight back to the beach against that current. You can't do it. Even Olympic swimmers can't do it. You have to go left or right until you feel that outward push stop, and then you can curve back in. Basic rules of the beach. I've spent much time in the ocean. It's a heads up, guys. Just be safe.